I guess you have to read 8. Yes, you have to read 8.
Okay. I'm using this laptop, so it takes little bit time. I can share the screen or no? Okay, let us start. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desatharine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gauru Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langaite Grim Yatkrupa Tamham Vande Shri Gurun Dinatarine Hare Krishna. So we have verse 7. Let's read verse 7 once and then we will read verse 8. Okay, here also, right? स्यात् कृष्ण नाम चरितादिस्थिताप्य अविद्यापीतो पित्तोपतप्तरसनस्य नारोचिकानु किन्त्व आदरात् अनुदिनं खालो सैव जुष्टा चुष्टा स्वाद्वी कामात् bhavati tat kadamulahantri. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue, often afflicted by jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. This is verse number 7. Okay, so here the glorification of the name and Krishna's pastimes is given, and then so his instruction is we should chant and meditate on the pastimes. Now we'll read I think verse 8 and the purport. Okay, I will read the verse once. Somebody wants to chant, they can chant, and together we can read the purport. Okay, so let's read the word to word first, so it helps to understand the meaning. Tat, Tat of Lord Krishna. Last verse was talking about Krishna's pastimes name. So now continuing. Tat, Lord Krishna Nam, the holy name. Rupa, form. Charitadi, characters, pastimes, and so on. Sukirtana, in discussing or chanting nicely. Anusmrutyo, Anusmrutyo, in remembering. Kramena, gradually. Rasa, Rasana, Rasana, the tongue. Rasana is the tongue. Manasi, and one's mind. Niyoja, engaging. Tishtan, residing. Uraje, Uraja. Tat, Tad of Lord Krishna. Anuragi, Anuragi, attached. Jana, Anuragi, Jananugami. Jana is person, Anugami is following. Anugami. Kalam, time. Nayet, should utilize. Akhilam, full. Iti, thus. Upadesha, Upadesha of advice or instruction. Saram, the essence. Okay. तन्नामरूपचरितादिसुकीर्तनानु स्मृत्यो क्रमेण रसना मनसि नियोज्य तिष्ठन् व्रजे तदनुरागी जनानुगामी कालं नये कालं नयेद् अखिलम् इति उपदेशसारम् तन्नामरूपचरितादिसुकीर्तनानु स्मृत्यो क्रमेण रसमनसि नियोज्य तिष्ठन् व्रजे तत् अनुरागी जनानुगामी कालं नयेद् अखिलम् इति उपदेशसारम्. Anybody wants to try? Anything not difficult.
Okay, Prabhuji, I will try. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna, Prabhuji. तन्नामरूपचरितदि सुकीर्तनु तनानु स्मृत्य क्रमेण रसना मनसा नियोज्य तिष्ठान् व्रजे तद् अनुरागी जानानुगामी कालं नयेद् अखिलम् इति उपदेशसारम्. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: the essence of all advice is that one should utilize Upadeshasaram. One should utilize one's full time, Akhilam, 24 hours a day in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and the mind. In this way, one should reside in Vraja, Goloka Vrindavan Dham, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. तन्नामरूपचरितादि संकीर्तनानो स्मृत्यो क्रमेण रसना मनसि नियोज्य तिष्ठन् व्रजे तद अनुरागी जनानुगामी कालं नयेदखिलम् इति उपदेशसारम्. I will read one paragraph, then somebody please help to read. Purport: since the mind may be one's enemy or one's friend, one has to train the mind to become his friend. The Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for training the mind to be always engaged in Krishna's business. The mind contains hundreds and thousands of impressions, and not only of this life but also of many lives of the past. These impressions sometimes come in contact with one another and produce contradictory pictures. In this way, the mind's function can become dangerous for conditioned soul. Students of psychology are aware of mind's various psychological changes. In Bhagavad Gita 8.6, it is said, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajanti antakale varam tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Somebody wants to read? Can read? Anybody in the situation?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
I will start.
Okay.
Okay.
At the time of death.
At the time of death, the mind and intelligence of a living entity create the subtle form of a certain type of body for the next life. If the mind suddenly thinks of something not very conjugal, one has to take a corresponding birth in the next life. On the other hand, if one can think of Krishna at a time of death, he can be transferred to the spiritual world Golok Vrindavan. This process of transmigration is very subtle. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami advised devotees to train their mind in order that be ab- they will be un- they will be unable to remember anything other than Krishna. Similarly, the tongue should be trained to speak only of Krishna and to taste only Krishna Prasadam. Srila Rupa Goswami further advised Tishta Braja. One should live in Vrindavan or any part of Brajabhumi. Brajabhumi or the land of Vrindavan is supposed to be 84 crores in 84 crores in area. One crosa equal 2 square mile. When one makes Vrindavan his residence, he should take shelter of an advanced devotee there. In this way, one should always think of Krishna and his pastime. This is further elucidated by Sri Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.294. Krishna Samar Krishna Smaran Janam Chasya Preshtham Nija Samishtitam Tattat Katharasa Tattat Katharasa Chasa
So,
Kruyat Vasam Prajay Sada. A devotee should always reside in the transcendental realm of Braja and always engage in Krishna's Janam Jasya Preshta, the remembrance of Sri Krishna and his beloved associate. By following in the footsteps of such associate and un, by entering under their eternal guidance, one can acquire an intense desire to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Again, Sri Rupa Goswami states in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Seva Sadhaka Rupena Siddha Rupena Chatrahi Tad Lipsuna Karya Vrajalokanusar Vrajalokanusar Ratha
Sharata Anulokan.
Sharata. In the transcendental realm of Vrajda, one should serve the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, with a feeling similar to that his associate, and one should place himself under the direct guidance of a particular associate of Krishna and should follow in his footsteps. This method is applicable both in the stage of sadhana, spiritual practice, executed while in the stage of bondage, and in the stage of sati, God realization. When one is Siddha Purush or a spiritually perfect soul. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has commented as follow upon this one. One who has not yet developed interest in Krishna consciousness should give up all material motives and train his mind by following the progressive regulative principles, namely chanting and remembering Krishna and his name, form, quality, pastime, and so forth. In this way, after developing a taste for such things, one should try to live in Vrindavan and pass his time constantly remembering Krishna's name, fame, pastimes, and qualities under the direction and protection of an expert devotee. This is the sum of a substance of all instruction regarding the cultivation of devotional service. In the neophyte stage, one should always engage in hearing Krishna Katha. This is called Swarnodas, the stage of a hearing. By constantly hearing the transcendental holy name of Krishna and hearing of his transcendental form, qualities, and pastime, one can attain to the stage of acceptance called Varna Rasa. When one attains this stage, he becomes attached to the hearing of Krishna Katha. When one is able to chant in ecstasy, he remains the stage of Smarna, Smarnavastha, the stage
Right.
of remembering, recollection, absorption, meditation, constant remembrance, and trance are the five atoms of progressive Krishna Smarna. At first stage, at first, remembrance of Krishna may be interrupted at intervals, but later remembrance proceeds uninterrupted. When remembrance is uninterrupted, it becomes concentrated and it is called meditation. When meditation expands and becomes constant, it is called anusmriti. By uninterrupted and unnecessary and
Seizing.
unceasing anusmriti, one enters the stage of samadhi or spiritual trance. After Smarna Das or Samadhi has fully developed, a soul comes to understand his original constitutional position. At this time, he can perfectly and clearly understand his internal relationship with Krishna. This is called Sampatti Das, the perfection of life. Chaitanya Charitamrita advised those who are neophyte to give up all kind of motivated desire and simply engage in regulative devotional service of the Lord according to the directions of scriptures. In this way, a neophyte can gradually develop attachment for Krishna's name, fame, form, qualities, and so forth. When one has developed such attachment, he can spontaneously serve the lotus feet of Krishna even without following the regulative principles. This stage is called Raga Bhakti or devotional service in spontaneous love. At that stage, the devotee can follow in the footsteps of one of the eternal associate of Krishna in Vrindavan. This is called Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti or spontaneous devotional service can be executed in the Santaras when one aspires to be like Krishna's cow or the stick or flute in the hand of Krishna, or the flowers around Krishna's neck. In the Dasya race, one follows in the footsteps of servant like Chitraka, Chitraka, Patraka, or Raktaka. In the friendly Sakya race, one can become friend like Baldev, Sridhama, or Sudama. In the Vasya race, characterized by parental affection, one can become like Nanda Maharaj or Yashoda and Yashoda. And in the Madhurya rasa characterized by conjugal love, one can become like Srimati Radharani or her lady friends such as Lalita and her serving maids Mancharites like Rupa and Rati. This is the essence of all instruction in the matter of devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. नाम रूप चरितादि सुकीर्तनम ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्दे अहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सद्वैतं सर्वदूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदां सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखावितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Pangum Langayate Grim, Yatkupatamaham Vande Shri Gurundina Tarine. Hare Krishna, something in the chat. Volume is very low.
Yeah, it's okay for me also.
It's very low.
No, it's normal for me.
Is it okay now? Na? You can hear, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting, remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Vraja, Golok, Vrindavan, Dham, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. So, this question, when we are reading this Bhagavad Gita chapter 8, right, attaining the Supreme, Krishna mentions, like in the purport, like whatever you remember at the end of your life, when you quit the body, that state you will attain without fail. Okay. So the question generally comes like there are examples of Ajamil, right, that he just chanted the name of his son, but then Vishnu Dutas delivered him of his all karma and everything, right? So these examples are there where the power of the holy name is given or mentioned. So the question comes like if at the end of the time at the end of the uh, your life span, when you quit the body, if that is very important, many times this question comes like, okay, then I will remember the name of Krishna at the end of life, and then everything is done. So that is more important rather than throughout the life if I have to do, right, the bhakti and the restrictions and rules. I will remember Krishna at the end. This question devotees or guests also ask, right? But then why in all the scriptures and everywhere, right, Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam, Ye Jan Paryupasate. Krishna also says, those who Satatam always chant my glories, always remember me. uh, to them I deliver. Right? So, but there are instructions which are not contradictory, but which can be used to argue, right? So, if I can just remember at the end, that is enough. But then people don't look at the other instructions where Krishna is saying that Satatam, you have to always. Here also the word used is Akhilam, all time. Akhilam means whatever you have. Right? So whatever time you have, utilize in remembering Krishna. So the reason for that is given in the first paragraph of the purport. Srila Prabhupada mentions, right? In our mind, there are impressions of many lifetimes, and this we can also understand. Right? When we are living consciously, we can understand. Sometimes unconsciously also we understand, like suddenly we think of some thought comes, or suddenly we see something which we can relate very easily, this thing or this situation or this type of person or this type of conversation I had sometimes. But you don't remember when, with whom, how. You don't remember. There are many situations in our life where consciously, if we look, we can understand that, oh, this in this lifetime at least I don't remember, but I know this situation. I know this type of behavior. I know this type of conversation. This situation, these are the impressions coming from somewhere in your mind. So the impression sometimes come in contact with one another and produce contradictory pictures. So we think that this I am gone through this situation in this lifetime, but it may not be, right. It may be coming from some previous lifetime. So you have to be conscious and notice that, right? So there, why to notice it is just we understand the dangerous situation of the mind, how we are bewildered. And this applies to the, like, I also know that there are certain very strong impressions in my mind or through my mind into my body, okay, that if we don't do certain things, it's a problem, or certain things need to be done to be okay, right? This type of image we create, this is all coming from the mind and the impressions. And to remove these impressions from your mind which we don't know, is very difficult, not difficult, is impossible for us to do. We cannot remember everything and one by one remove. Impossible task. If we think we cannot. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions that use the holy name, and what the holy name will do? Cheto darpanam archanam. It will cleanse your heart and your mind of the all bad things, all unwanted things. Not only bad, right? Good or bad, unwanted things, that will be cleansed by this holy name. And that should be always chant, always chant. So that is required to train the mind. So at the end of life, it's not like at the end of the life what happens. I think we discussed on this, but in our body and in our subtle body, right, when we are doing the different activities in this life, we can understand what are my intentions and how my inclinations are changing with my age or day or my association or my reading or my observing, how my image or interest inclinations are changing, we can also understand. And with our, we know that in the subtle body everything is being transferred to the subtle body, right? And that subtle body is creating particular type of what we say aura, right? Aura or something is there. The impressions are going into subtle body of mind, intelligence and ego, and they create a form with that images that we transfer with our activities. And it's happening very subtly every day with us. And sometimes we know, sometimes we don't know it's happening. And that's why Srila Prabhupada said it's dangerous, become dangerous for conditioned soul. Mind's function can become dangerous. So it is becoming dangerous. It's just that we have to notice. But the problem is we are so much under the conditioned state, we are so much under the control of mind. Even if we understand, we cannot control. Arjuna asked this question, right? Even if by force we are made to do certain things. And Krishna says the reason is lust, right? In the chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. So that is what we call conditioned state. We cannot control our actions, though we want to control. And so the problem is, even if we understand, we cannot improve. So if we cannot handle ourselves, how to change? That is for that this instruction is given. Nama Adi Charitam, Krishna's name, form, qualities, we have to smaranam, we have to remember. And how it will help? Gradually. Gradually your mind and your tongue will get used to it. So it's not that Rupa Goswami is not saying that it will happen one day, it happen in one lifetime maybe. It may happen in certain lifetimes, n number of lifetimes. It depends on your faith and your Sharanagati to the name. If you can surrender to the name fully, it is possible. Srila Prabhupada says in 1 second. But if you cannot, it will gradually, your tongue will be interested. So our daily chanting, sometimes it becomes a burden. Then because the interest or the rasa coming from chanting is not there, then it becomes a daily duty, and sometimes it becomes I have to chant, I have to finish. So this is burden, it becomes burden because the interest is not there. It happens with me many times, okay, that I have to do, so I do. But it is should be done because kramena, what it says, kramena rasana manasi niyojya, kramena, gradually you engage everything, and gradually it will develop the interest. In the last verse, Rupa Goswami says, like it's like jaundice. It will not be immediately effect. It will be bitter, but we have to keep on doing. We have to keep on doing. Akhilam always. So these instructions are, sometimes people say, oh, these are not instructions which we can easily follow. No, but these are very practical instructions of living a sadhaka life. And we can see those devotees who are following this rigidly, we can see that their conviction, their commitment, their dependence on Krishna is very different. We can easily observe that by seeing different devotees. So we have to be in association with those devotees whom we see, yeah, their conviction is something different from others. Their commitment is something different from others. So we have to find those devotees. And here, when one makes Vrindavan his residence, he should take shelter of advanced devotee there. So, Dham, the question comes of living in Dham. So, Vrindavan or Mathura, Jagannath Puri or Mayapur, you should Navdeep, we should live there. Of course, if you can live there, it is good. But Srila Prabhupada says, wherever there is Kirtan, wherever there is name of Krishna, it is Vrindavan. How? Depends on your consciousness. So even if we are in Japan, in Tokyo or Chiba or Osaka, anywhere, if the chanting is going on, that place becomes Vrindavan. Right? So temple and every home, every house, that is Vrindavan. So we have to be committed to that, and then we will get the interest kramena. So we should not be we should be compassionate to ourselves also. It's not going to happen suddenly. Okay, you started chanting, I started chanting 10 years, 15 years, 20 years back, but I may not develop rasa. I may not have that test. It will come. Gradually it will come. You have to be very patient. So bhakti is easy but difficult to follow because the results will come very slowly. It will take time. It tests your patience. So you have to keep doing. Just keep doing. There is one statement that Maharaj, like Radhanath Swami Maharaj or Vaisheshika Prabhu, Bhalu Maharaj, they also say, right, that you have to keep doing. Don't stop. Just keep doing. Just keep doing. And at certain point, it will happen. So you have to keep doing with that faith that, yes, I have to keep this doing. The results will come. You should not get attached to the results, right? So why I'm not getting the test? Why I'm not getting any interest? So many reasons are there. Our anarthas are there. Our offenses are there. So we are creating in the mind, by body, by actions, by words. We are doing so many offenses. Offenses does not always mean that I insult a devotee or I talk harshly with some devotee. Then that is of course offense against the devotee is very high. Results will be very difficult. That bhakti will get reduced. But there are 10 offenses, right? So on the strength of chanting, doing the wrong things is a very generic statement, looks like, but it applies to all the parts of your life. right? Daily activities. If I am doing something wrong, I know I am doing wrong. Okay. In that case, maybe I am doing the aparadh against the name because I am doing chanting. At the same time, I am continuing my bad habits. Right? So, aparadhs are happening, offenses are being done against the holy name, against the people, against the devotees. So, results will come in. So slowly. So this type of living in dham is suggested or recommended because if you are in dham, all the atmosphere around you is surcharged with the energy of the name, and uh, form and qualities, and people are always in that consciousness. So anywhere you go, you somehow or other come across the name of God. So if you go to Vrindavan or Mayapur, you see, you can experience that. Like wherever you go, people are talking about Krishna. How it's not about the pastimes. Talking about Krishna means Vrindavan they are saying Radhe Radhe. Mayapur you go Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. So this is what every time consciously, unconsciously keeping us in that vibration. So it is easier. At the same time, living in Dham is not so easy. Uh, there is a lot of austerity to live in Dham, and uh, the effect of offense is also very high. If you do offense in Dham, the reaction will be very high. Uh, So, in both way, it's a knife with the sharp cutting edge. Both ways, it can be helpful, it can be risky also. So, our life should be molded in such a way that we can remember Krishna always. Now the point comes like the life has changed, the lifestyle has changed. That so how can we do this? How can we do 24 hours bhajan? Yeah? So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's comment is should give up all material motives and trained mind by following progressive regulative principles, uh, namely chanting, remembering Krishna, so progressively, and regulative principles. So we have the principles, follow the four regulative principles. Practically, if you can follow these four principles very sincerely and seriously, actually all the wrong things which will divert us will be automatically reduced, and that we experience, right? So but offenses are done for those principles also. We try to follow, but we miss, and then we have get the reaction. Interest of chanting gets reduced, whatever. So we experience this. So bhakti or practicing sadhaka bhakti is very practical thing. It's not something imaginary. It has to be practiced. Uh, so that's why Krishna Katha is recommended. So if you more you listen, the more the mind engages. So uh, for me also it is very challenging to overcome my some anarthas or my some impressions in my mind which are bothering me, and I am also very much trying to control them and trying to come out of them, but it always keeps coming, na, my mind. So I understand the mind's power. Na. We have to understand the mind is in mode of goodness. Mind is created from ego in mode of goodness. Okay, so the mind can be our friend. That is the advantage. Uh, it's a problematic, but you can convert it. So intelligence is trying to create something, create the situation, create the opportunity by different ideas. Mind is giving those impressions, and the intelligence takes that and tries to, because intelligence is in mode of passion, so it tries to create something. So that combination is working, and mind is controlling the sense, and that's why importance is given to mind. So our intelligence has to be aligned uh, with the purpose, then automatically mind will be little bit under control. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, okay, progressively you change yourself, follow the regulative principles. So we have to keep following. So Gaurang Prabhu tells one idea for the mind how to do this, right? So you can mind will demand something, but you have to trick the mind by saying not now, later, not now, later. If you can do this continuously for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, then the mind will change. But that determination to do that uh, will come from where? It will come from somewhere which is not in our body or mind or intelligence, right? So that is what Krishna says in 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right? 11th verse. I will give the understanding by which you can come to me. I will give the intelligence by which you can come to me. The divine intelligence, right? Tadami buddhi yogam. The buddhi yoga. He will give the buddhi by which you can connect with me. So that intelligence will come from also from Krishna. That he will help. And we can see if we are really doing good chanting, good sadhana, our chances of doing offenses and wrong things is reduced. That's why chanting is the holy name in Krishna Katha is tremendous importance continuously, so that our subtle body, we transmit all those signals continuously to the subtle body, and subtle body gets used to that. This body may be creating problems is fine, but our subtle body should be used to that. So at the time of death, suddenly we will remember, Srila Prabhupada says in first paragraph, suddenly we will remember something and we focus there, and at that moment we die, we go into some other body. It's quite obvious that's going to happen, right? So our thoughts only should be about Krishna, so that we have to, a lifetime of training is required. Lifetime of training is this sadhana, bhakti. Even if why meditation is recommended, even if we are chanting, still some time for meditation should be given, because if we close the eyes and just sit, different thoughts will start coming, and you observe those thoughts, and the way the thoughts come, you can observe how our subtle body is getting formed by that thoughts every day. If same thought is coming every day, that means that is going into our subtle body, and that is creating some impression or interest. When I say impression, it is interest. And if that interest is given every day into the subtle body, it may happen that at the end of the lifetime I will focus on that. It's possible. So when I say this also, I also become fearful, because I know, oh my God, I'm giving some impressions which are not conducive to bhakti. And if I focus on that, very dangerous. Yeah, so when we talk about this with devotees like this in discuss, then we can understand. But when we go outside, it becomes difficult. So one brahmachari said, he's living in temple in India. He's always doing activity related to temple or Krishna consciousness, full-time dedicated devotee. So he was saying that I went outside yesterday to go to some bookshop or some shopping, because the temple car or temple facility and nobody was available. So the two of them brahmacharis went outside by rickshaw. And he said, when I went outside and I was standing for rickshaw, I was looking here and there, I was bewildered. And I said, what bewildered? Because of traffic? Or he said, no, because there are so many attractions outside, just even if just you stand, that it is quite possible that I may get engaged in some type of attraction. It may be anything. Anything, he said, like food, fruit, opposite sex body, car, anything, he said, it's like very attractive to the mind. And then I said, like, okay, if it is still attracting you, that means there is a problem in not the thing but us, right? He said, yeah, of course, it's not the thing that attracts, it's the problem in us that we have that attraction. right? So he said, so if I am not still fully dedicated, I'm going to get the attraction. That is dangerous, he's saying. So I have to be more strict, I have to be more regulative, I have to control more and be in association of devotees till I get that conviction and determination. Yeah, so we discussed that, yeah, this is the correct approach, because if I know I'm going to be in risky situation, I try to avoid it uh, till I am well equipped to face that situation. So the point was that yeah, there may be problem, but yeah, we have to depend more on Krishna. Right? So there are a couple of more paragraphs which we should discuss, but now it's almost 7:50. So I think we can stop here today and continue these two paragraphs next week. This no fight is what I say my stage. You can think of how which stage you are, but this is my stage of sadhana. In sadhana bhakti, mostly we all are in this neophyte stage. We think I am a great devotee, I am a great preacher. It's nothing. We are in neophyte stage. And when we talk about my constitutional position and everything, that I understand my relationship with Krishna and all, we talk those things very easily, actually. Okay. Sometimes it may be easily if you have kripa, Krishna's kripa, devotee's kripa can make anything happen. But here it's Srila Prabhupada gives very clear levels how we understand our constitutional position. So he's saying that after Smarana Das or Samadhi has fully developed, Samadhi has fully developed. So we should understand that that stage of Samadhi is not so easily attained. If you are in sadhana bhakti, Krupa, anything is possible. Today you start chanting, tomorrow you are in continuous remember, possible. If you have Krupa, anything can happen. But in general, if we say these different levels of uh, Smaranam and Shravanam is given. So I think we should read them little bit more in detail maybe next time, so we understand that how the stage of is little bit away or closed for us. Also, I'm reading this Bhajan Rahasya by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Okay, in this actually the different levels of bhakti, right? Shraddha, association, all this, and how this should be uh, applied depending on the Ashtakala Leela and Shishtastakam. That Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives that explanation, and there are some points that I noticed in this while reading this about the Siddha Deha and all. So I think we should read little bit about that also, so that because there are topics when people come and they say, like one devotee came to me and said that, oh, my guru told me my Siddha Deha, so now I will worship uh, Radha and Krishna in my Siddha Deha while meditation. Of course, he is not directly connected to ISKCON, but he comes. So he suddenly came, somebody told him Siddha Deha. So that is a practice, one way of practicing bhakti. It's in Vrindavan and Jagannath Puri also. But I think we can read that next week little bit, so that we understand that if we come across such situations, we should, how carefully we should handle that. Okay, so I will stop here for now. We have 5-10 minutes. If somebody has some comments or some reflections or some questions or some points that we should discuss. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much for the wonderful class. When you said about the impression on the subtle body, and like you also said, you're very scared for a minute. That time when you said, I also was very scared for a minute. I was like, I'm focusing on unnecessary things where it creates that impression. So, what kind of impressions I'm putting in, that came to me that moment. Thank you very much for that point, Prabhuji. And also, like when you said, like when they were outside the brahmacharis, how it gets hijacked. I can also literally see like many a times this material things just hijack every possible bit of consciousness where we completely deviate. So I really understand why it's always Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, why that being in that loop is very necessary, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. That's why Vaisheshika Prabhu says, na? Always he says, keep the vibration going somehow or other. Keep the transcendental vibration going. So that is that necessity. Very situation is. I also know many of the situations where I know this is wrong, this should not be done, this will reduce my bhakti, this will not help me anyway, but still fail, right? And if there is another very risky approach that happens, okay, like when we see devotees who are trying to uh, force themselves into these vibrations, right? Keep reading, keep hearing continuously. Sometimes we think that, oh, this person, why he's behaving like not a logical or practical behavior. He's behaving something odd. He's too fearful. He's too fearful of the situation. Sometimes you have to face, yeah, so sometimes that is also required to face our challenges and understand our situation, right? So everybody is in different states, so somebody wants to try by their own way, so we should not judge. It's very that is also one of my problem also, that if I try to judge somebody, it's a problem, because that image goes, and then unnecessary, that's not required thought, I think, that we should pass on to subtle body. Yeah, at the same time, Banu Maharaj this time said, when we do bhakti and we know that there are certain things that we cannot control and we cannot do, or we see in devotees also, and we get bewildered. Actually, that time the topic was of, I think, Bhagavatam, the topic was of some marriage or something, marriage was going on, and then I asked the question about this devotees or people getting married 2 times, 3 times, right? How this is, how we can justify this. So Maharaj said, yeah, it's not as per Shastra, it is not correct. It should not be done. But at the same time, you should not do bhakti in very non-practical way. And so Maharaj said, if you understand that this is your problem, and if you don't address this problem, you will not be able to do bhakti also. Then don't be unpractical and try to avoid that. It may be something problem, it may be not a logical or not a solution which should be applicable, but if you have to do it, you have to do it. Like he said, like if you have to work to sustain, you have to work. So work. Don't try to avoid work. People say like, okay, I just want to do bhakti 24 hours. Maharaj said, no, that is not practical for everyone. So everybody has to judge. So very practical, it was very practical class that Maharaj told. No? Very nice tips Banu Maharaj gave. So it should be practical also and balance. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any other points? Any other comments? At the same time, don't be so fearful. We are chanting, we have to continue chanting, and Krishna's approach is clear, right? 9.30 Bhagavad Gita. I will consider that person as sadhu if he is determined to do bhakti. You create problems, but Krishna is looking at very differently. So Krishna knows that this wrong habits that you have is impression of last life, but he's taking, okay, you are doing bhakti, continuing. So maybe not this lifetime, maybe next lifetime you will cover. So his view is very different. So he gives his view also. That's the hope we have. Any other points or any other comments that we should discuss today before we close? If somebody comes, some point comes, or some points that we should discuss, we can write in the group also, so we can discuss next time. Okay, so I think we can close for today. But these last two paragraphs of the this text 8 we still have to do next time, and if possible then we'll go to next verse or we'll do that. Okay,
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for
thank you.
giving us this wonderful class after so long time.
No, it's my pleasure because I also need this. Thank you very much everyone for coming, though it is very cold. Okay, it was difficult to, but thank you very much. It was
Thank you so
necessary.
much, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Lord.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. श्री प्रभुपाद की जय श्री
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.